What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dosh. Come back to Real Takes. Well, it's a time, guys. It's reaction time, and this is to Netflix's The Sandman. This will be for the episode 6, The Sound of Her Wings. Now, before I jump into it, let me just do a quick recap. Last episode was really, really good. I enjoyed us seeing John kind of being in some ways, his element, where he's, of course, in this diner and kind of filling out, some of the, workers and, of course, some of the, patrons, some in particular, and seeing how he has his effect, of course, on the waitress. You learn a little bit more about a couple, then a young lady, waiting on a girlfriend. One guy's waiting for an interview, and things start to take a turn. He starts utilizing the ruby, and just things start to come out. People telling their truths, however nice, however vicious, however wrong. Hence the cook in the back, then the couple, the jealousy, the envy, the anger, then the girlfriend feeling a certain way, anger as well, with not, regards to not hearing from the girlfriend, the guy wanting the job, and, the couple, wife being the CEO. And, it was just an eye opening hearing some of those revelations. And just seeing how when all things, center culminating and certain things start happening, getting worse to the point where people being hurt. And then it's like, I didn't want any of this. When the young guy said, and he's like, no, but I think he did. And then of course, him saying, I wanted you all to, speak your truths and, this be a better world, but I think you like, the character. So I'm like, no, I don't think they do. And with you playing a part and kind of bringing about, this is what happens. I like how in the end we do see Dream finally awaken where he's able to get up and eventually intervene and explain to him, like, John, you don't get to control the scenario of how these dreams and how this stuff should work. If he's like, oh, it's lies, lies. That's not for you to that decision to make. And in the end, when he all of a sudden feeling this extra tug in his chest, to feel this extra dominance with dealing with Dream trying to destroy him and all that, and eventually him being put to the test, back at the home, where his mother met his dad, and things start happening. He ends up, about to seduce on a woman. Come to find out it's your mother, buddy. And then him making the comments, about this is his birthright. I'm like, no, it's not. And this does not belong to you. Your father stole it. Your father didn't even want you. I was like, what did your mother tell you when she told you told her to speak? It's tell me everything when she came to visit him. Clearly, she must have left that part out, but that was in the dream. So when he thought he was being choked, everything about it was done very well. Do not get me wrong, but just the arrogance of John really thinking he was going to be the up and up and mastermind of the demise of Dream. And I like how he's like, when you crumbled, you opened it up, whatever. No, he's like, I didn't even think about that. Like, thank you. So I was here for it. And he was like, and then when you see him, he spared him. He was like, are you going to kill me now? All of a sudden his dream shattered. He's like, no. Because in the end, like I stated in my feedback at the end of the last episode, it's like, no, it really is not truly his fault. This is the making of course, both his parents, more so his mother than his father. He gets some of his tendencies with his overall, feelings and behavior and personality, but his mother is the reason this happened. She should have never introduced him to that ruby. And then he would have never stolen, did what he did, and he would not have been, caught, locked up, whatever. And they would not have the strain they had in their relationship, who knows for how many years. You see how old she was, you see how old he is. He didn't get to really live a real life all the time because he, like I said, moving, mothers, meeting men, this. So he, kind of was robbed of that. And now he's put into deep sleep. So we do see it. I don't know if we're going to see him again, but I don't seriously doubt that. So now we see Dream pretty much moving on to kind of fix the destruction that has been caused by some of what John did, probably from being in that diner, whatever was happening outside as well. And we do see a person at the end, like I stated before, and I'm hoping they might show up in this episode. Who knows? But yes, I'm ready to get right into it. And again, this actual episode is titled The Sound of Her Wings. This is episode 6. So with that said, let's go and jump into it. Say the rest of my thoughts at you guys.
Heads up!
Sorry, man. Nice catch, though. Thank you.
I don't know what's wrong, but you're right. Something is the matter. I was so sure that once I got everything back, I'd feel good. But in some ways, I feel worse than when I started. I feel like nothing.
feeling sorry for yourself because your little game is over and you haven't got the balls to go out and find a new one. You're as bad as Desire. No,
Oh.
worse. You can come with me if you want. Or you can stay here and sulk.
I'll come with you, I suppose.
Well, don't do me any favors.
Before you go, can I maybe see you again?
Sure, Franklin. You'll see me again.
Seriously?
Soon.
I know this piece. I haven't heard it in 200 years.
No. Don't stop, please.
No. Not yet, please.
It's time. You ready?
When I was captured, it wasn't me they were looking for. It was you.
Yeah. I know.
No. I need to talk to my wife for like 1 second.
Sam.
How do you do it?
You what?
This. Either. For all of them.
I have a job to do. And I do it. How's he bearing up after all this time?
Who? Hobgadling? I don't know. I was forced to miss our last appointment.
I thought about giving up. Walking out. People may not be ready for my gift, but they get it anyway. No matter what the circumstance. It isn't about quests or finding purpose outside our function. Our purpose is our function.
You've taught me something I had forgotten. I thank you, my sister.
One last appointment, then I have to go.
I too am late for an appointment.
Tell him I said hello.
That car came like this close to hitting me.
This close, huh? Come with me, Franklin. I need to show you something.
Okay, transition.
Come on, then.
Made up my mind. I'm not going to die.
Hobbs, death comes for every man.
You don't know that. I might get lucky.
I could grant him his wish.
Do that, and he will be begging for death within a century, I assure you.
This could prove very interesting.
Let us meet here again, Robert Gatling, in this Tavern of the White Horse, in 100 years.
I will see you in the year of our Lord 1489 then.
Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm here because I'm interested
In me?
in your experience. What have you been doing for the last 100 years?
Same as before. Soldiering, mainly. A little banditry here and there if I couldn't find a war. But now, I've started in a new trade. It's called printing.
So you still want to live?
Oh, yes.
100 years then?
Ranger.
You've had good fortune, I take it.
The gods have smiled on me as they smile on all England, where no man is slave or bondsman. Anything, Basti?
I would give anything to have your gifts. To give men dreams that would live on long after I'm dead. I would bargain, like your house does, for that boon.
Are you Welsh expert?
I, sir? Have we met?
We have, but men forget in waking hours. Would you write great plays? Create new dreams to spur the minds of men? Is that your will?
It is.
And let us talk.
Do not be so free in saying plagues, fires, floods.
I lost it all. My land, my gold, my Eleanor.
So do you still wish to live?
Death is a mug's game. I've got so much to live for.
What's this?
"400 years now I've been meeting you here, and there is so much I still don't know. Who are you, truly? What's your name?"
I'm Lady Joanna Constantine. You will both follow me, sir, as my coach is without. I can see there is so much you can tell me. So much I can learn. I'm sorry.
What did you do to her?
She has old ghosts that I've shown to her. You must be cautious.
Always. 100 years then.
100 years.
I think I know why we still meet here century after century. It's not because you want to see whether or not I'm ready to seek death. I don't think I'll ever seek death. Friendship? I think you're lonely.
You dare. Then I shall take my leave of you and prove you wrong.
I tell you what, I'll be here in 100 years' time. If you're here then too, it'll be because we're friends. No other reason. Right?
This is 1989. I like that song.
You waiting for someone?
I think I've been stood up.
This place has been sold to make room for new flats. The borough council are trying to stop them, but if you've got enough money in this country, you can do whatever you bloody want.
Oh.
You're late.
It seems I owe you an apology. I've always had it impolite to keep one's friends waiting.
He smiles.
My brother has found a way out of his cage. My plan has failed. But don't worry. I have a new one.
All right, you guys. I really enjoyed this episode. Getting introduced to death. I love how we see Dream just having a nice conversation where he's feeling kind of, I won't say, I'll just use the word stagnant, like he's not sure of himself of what to do next. Now, granted, we did see in the last episode, he was talking about the damage that's been done. And when you come outside and you see him and Matthew So what is there to do now? We have to build up. And of course, I'm thinking, yeah, you'll start there. But for some reason, he's kind of conflicted. Like he's sitting on a bench, feeding, the birds and death approaches and, checking in and wanting him to, vent and that and other. And at first he's kind of hesitant, but then eventually open and I'm like, okay, we're meeting more of the family. So it's like, she hasn't seen you. So, speak on it and him kind of open up a little bit. And then we get to introduce to what her job is, which I love. We get introduced to one gentleman, older gentleman, playing this lovely music that, dreams that he recognized, and she go up there and then he's like, oh, it's not finished. And you see the scene of him stating that, but then he realizes there's really a real purpose as to why she's there. And he's not ready. He's like, can I, say some words? And of course he does his last prayer. And he said, makes a little, a little moment of saying, I gotta say this prayer and all that so I can go to heaven. And I just love that when he did that. And of course you see his physical body laying in the chair and him right there. But I like when you see Dream walk into another room and you see what's a partial part of a silhouette of a wing, which is probably the wings, and she comes back like, okay, let's go. So it's like, this is her job throughout the day. She has work to do. And he's going with her on these. I like when you see the scene with her getting the fruit and he's all like, no, I don't want some pensive face, pensive. Also, just other, instances, man with his, new wife. And then you see a scene of her going to see someone else. Of course, you see the sad part. The one that just really got me was the one where you see the mother with the baby and she's holding the baby. And then she goes in another room and of course Death's holding the baby. It's like, yeah, and all. And the baby's like, so cute, but just so sad because at least we didn't get to hear because we see her, you're like, okay, let's go. She'd already took the baby out, whatever, and all that. But then you see the physical of the body of the baby. But then she's coming like, hey, and you hear mom saying something like she's, yelling, not yelling out, but kind of saying her baby's name. But by that time she left, so we wouldn't hear any distraughtness, which I'm kind of glad we didn't get to hear because it would have been so sad just to hear that in the background. But then, as time goes on, she speaks on how she felt, very hardened, how she was starting to feel a certain way about doing this. But then overall, opens up about how the instance of, her being there for these people, but then in the end, them being beneficial to her being, which helps her as well. And I like how it's a feeling of, you help them is helping me. And I really like when she kind of really, centered on that. I did write down when she makes a comment in this one instance where they're showing her going from one person who is, going to shipping to the other side, which you see this man who's laying in the ground bleeding, and then it shows a woman who's laying in a bed and she goes over and she does it so gently, like this person, they just want to see a smile and a friendly face. And I like how she sets that tone every time she enters a certain situation. They feel a sense of calm in that moment when it's her, they're seeing her face. She made the comment, she's like, people might not be ready for my gift, but they get it anyway, no matter what the circumstance. And I really liked the way she phrased that because in that moment, as much as they don't want you, like the guy, the brother who's out there, I think they were kind of like in a lake or a park or some sort of lake, and he's out there swimming, and but then you see he's out there, but you see his physical, he's already, and she's kind of explaining it to him, and he's like, let me help my wife one more time. She has some stuff on there. I want to give her the codes. Just so sad because she's like, no, it's time, and just very important. Just seeing it from this point of view, the way they're discussing how she's going to deal with their death. And I just like that. But I love how it centers around her and the way she goes about it and how she tries to make it seem more okay to know this moment is about to happen and I'm going to guide you, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I love how we end up going to the other half of the episode where it shows them going back to circa 1389 and we get introduced to this gentleman named Hob who's just like, I'm gonna just call it, I'm never gonna die. I have too much to live for. Do this, women, this, and then you hear Dream, he says, who's gonna want to live centuries or whatever and all that in this? And she's like, I can grant it to him. And she's like, okay, if you do that, whatever, in a century, he'll be begging. So we get to see him go over, introduce himself to Hob, and then that's when it all begins. Every 100 years, he'd show up, they'd have a little talk. You see a different type of period time. And it was real nice. One moment, he finally got married, has a child. Then the following year loses his child. They thought he was a witch. It was just mad as he lost everything. Then there's another year where he finally picks back up, doing good, but then kind of gets a little bit more kind of, an aspect where I have this, whatever, and all that, and treating certain people a certain way. And Dream had to remind him, giving out advice, because he kind of was pointing like, okay, or now you're giving out advice. And he's like, well, would you want somebody to do this to you when you know it's not the right thing to do? Like, you're wanting to do this to someone else, but you wouldn't want them to do this. Like, see it from that point of view. And I like how he tries to address it. He's like, I'll take your advice in consideration. Like, please do. So I like that. But then you get to a scene where you see the part where he kind of brings up, and I'm talking about Hob to Dream, like, what is the point of you coming here? It's like, you seem to know everything and all that. It's like, do you just, feel lonely? Do you need a friend? And he feels so offended. And he just rushes off like, let's see if you see me in 100 years. And he, by the time we get to it, we're at 1989. I was jamming over here. And you notice that he does not show up. But then we see why he didn't show up. It shows a little bit of the glass and all that. It pans out and shows why he was still locked up in that nice little bubble in the cage that Roderick had made, where he couldn't go anywhere because they had taken all of his things. So he missed that 1 year. But I love how in the end, when you see him standing at that construction and it shows some arrows pointing to the new end, and it's around probably like the corner adjacent or whatever. And he walks in and there he is in that little corner doing some dealing or writing some stuff down. And he's like, so sorry he's late, meeting his friend. And I just like how he finally admits, it's a friend. It's almost like when he said to Death, you made me think about something. You really, brought something to my attention that's very pointed that I need to, think about and address and follow through with. And that was the one thing. And I like how we got to see a full out, flushed out storyline with this, beginning of conversation that leads into as time goes on, a friendship. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And I love how in the end, when he did sit down, we got a smile. We get to see Morpheus, aka Dream, smile a little bit. We need to keep a screenshot because we know it doesn't happen often. But it was just really nice to see the appreciation from both the gentlemen, in that moment. It's just really good. I really enjoyed that. But just to get to the last little bit, get introduced to Desire. Now, mind you, we did see in the last episode, kind of watching like I'm watching your big brother. Okay. Death did say, he was missed. And then some others like, I know how you like to spar back and forth with Desire. Okay. I like the little small little comment there. I'm curious to know. I said, I don't know if we'll get a little bit backstory. Hopefully we'll see some flashbacks. That'd be nice. But yeah, Desire made a comment about brother's out, plan or something didn't work and all that, but I got another one lined up with that nice little smirk, looking straight at fire. So I'm really curious to see, and I'm going to say in Mason Alexander Park, what's going on? What's going on with Desire? Because I really am definitely intrigued now. So I'm looking forward. I don't know if it's going to be on the next episode, but we got quite a few more left over in here. This is episode 6, and I think this goes up to episode 11. So I'm really here to see what else is in store for the remainder of this season. So with that said, you guys, comment below. Let me know what you think. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next reaction. You guys take care.